Hey, lentil, lungs, and door. I've noticed that the last few... These are getting really weird. I've noticed that the last few handheld PC videos haven't mentioned the Steam Deck much. Is that because it's not a good comparison because of price or performance?
What it isn't is an apples to apples comparison. The Steam Deck is an incredible console, but for the same reason that I wouldn't necessarily talk about the Nintendo Switch in the same breath as every new handheld PC, I also am beginning to view the Steam Deck in a bit of a different light. It is priced very aggressively, which is amazing. It offers a very console-like experience where instant wake, instant sleep are integral to the experience. It's a fantastic console, but much like a console, its library is a little bit more limited, and a lot of it's not Valve's fault. It's due to whether it's the developer of the game or the developer of the anti-cheat. It's down to developers either refusal or unwillingness to build Linux support into their games. I guess it's mostly that, but it's just a different product. It's an amazing product. The OLED version, oh man, the screen on it is just incredible. But I also have a tendency to lean on my own experiences when I'm evaluating products. And the reality of it is that ROG Ally won. I don't daily drive a Steam Deck because for me, the trade-offs, the things that I give up for being on Windows are not worth what I gain by being on a Steam Deck. Of course, these are devices that, one of each is sitting in the warehouse, so I don't have to necessarily consider the price.
I was just going to say, if you're covering it now, but the Steam Deck is significantly cheaper.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is an amazing piece of hardware. It's also not as performant as the latest handheld PCs. And that's part of the trade-off.
When did it launch?
It's been a minute, dude.
Yeah.
It's been a few years at this point, I think, because it was 2020?
I know when it was announced, we were doing WAN show remotely. It
did not launch in 2022, did it? Oh my goodness, it's 2024. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so my problem there wasn't that I didn't realize how long ago the Steam Deck launched. I didn't realize what year it was. What is time?
It's current year.
Oh. Anyway, wow, that's scary. So, Nokia asks, do you feel Proton OS has matured enough to be competitive as an OS? I don't know. Maybe if Steam ever actually fucking released the bloody thing, we'd be able to have a conversation about that. Sorry. You've touched a bit of a nerve because I've been putting off the Linux Challenge V2 for the release of SteamOS. And every time I ask those guys, hey, how's it going? They're like, we're on it. And I'm like, right. But that's not what I asked. I asked, can it be on my computer? Not are you on it? And it just keeps not appearing. And I get it. Valve's I was going to say busy company, but they've got some stuff going on. No, they got stuff going on.
Making lots of money.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm willing to bet that they have some wild skunkwork stuff.
Probably. Who knows if they'll ever release it?
Well, I suspect
they're just too busy making tons of money.
I don't know anything
and evaluating the absurd amount more money than they make than all the other companies.
I don't know anything about the internal workings of Valve. Okay,
other than that they make disgusting amounts of money.
I've never worked there. But what I suspect, based on everything I've seen out of these guys, is that they probably build more products than they actually release.
Oh, I'm sure. They'd be bored. They're making all this money. They might as well do something.
By a significant margin. Mm-hmm. I mean, did you see the rig that they built for that Steam Deck OLED commercial? Where they built that sphere out of Steam Deck OLED screens?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's wild. It is peak because we can.
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%.
They might as well spend all that money on something.
There was absolutely no reason whatsoever for them to do that practically like that. They could have come up with any other concept for a commercial, but they did that because somebody was like, That'd be cool.
That'd be neat. Can we afford it? Easily. Just send it.
Man, I really wish those guys would hurry up and get a flippin' Index 2 going here, because there have been some advancements in lens technology and in screen technology that I'm sure Valve has been doing stuff with. They just won't give me my new headset. Really want it.
More, please.
So yeah, Steam Deck, super cool. It'll definitely be back in the conversation around Steam Deck 2. We definitely will, bring it up. I mean, the ROG Ally X. People are talking about that. Apparently, there's a leak or something.
Yeah, I think that's a topic in here. Actually, the ROG Ally X. I don't think it's like a huge jump though. A little bit more battery life. I think it's like to be fair, they're naming it fairly properly for this, but I think it's like kind of like a pro model, not a generational leap, if that makes sense.
Yeah, should we jump into that, and then we'll do the other merch message?
We can do that, sure. ROG Ally X. ASUS has teased the ROG Ally X, which they claimed is somewhere between a sequel to the original Ally and a revision of it. Featuring a new black color, the X will sport larger battery life, allegedly way more than 30 to 40% more capacity?
I doubt it. It's probably something more like that.
It's probably like 30 to 40% capacity. I think this is written as allegedly way more, like 30 to 40% more capacity. That's what I'm assuming. Anyways, SVP, what does that mean?
Senior Vice President.
Cool. Sean Yen hinted at The Verge that the new handheld would give at least 3 hours of battery life playing intensive games. However, the device will be slightly heavier because of said larger battery. ASUS says the Ally X should have more than the 16 gigs of RAM the Ally Non-X currently has, and it will apparently be repairable with redesigned joystick modules that are more interchangeable. So just the joysticks are repairable?
That sounds pretty cool. I mean, that's something.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will feature an M.2 2280 slot rather than the 2230 SD
So if you want to throw like an 8 terabyte SSD because you enjoy having an SSD that costs
COD games
3 times as much as your computer.
ASUS still won't admit that the Ally's SD card reader had any fault, but the Ally X will have a rearranged motherboard layout that will just happen to move the SD card slot away from the vents.
Interesting.
However, the screen will be exactly the same, and so will the AMD Z1 or Z1 Extreme APU. The Steam Deck OLED, this is not. So yeah, that makes sense. More battery life, which is fair.
I understand it. A Steam Deck OLED, this is not.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, sure. Kind of, yeah. Anyway, but yes. So it will apparently not be getting an OLED screen. Okay, coming on June 2nd.
Yeah.
Our discussion question here is, what other upgrades would you have liked to see? I can't comment on anything
so soon.
other than what's in here. I mean, I wouldn't have minded seeing more performance, but I guess more battery life is also pretty good. I would have liked to see another USB-C port. I'm
honestly surprised they have a revision already.
On my trip to Japan, I had this brilliant idea that on the plane, my kids could play like multiplayer games with this portable. I grabbed one of the screens. It happens to be an ASUS like ROG portable monitor. So I grabbed one of the ones out of my car, and I brought it with me so that they could put it in the middle seat and sit 3 abreast, and then play games together, and I could run them off the Ally. And I was like, man, that would be sick. And so I brought a USB-C cable, and I plugged it between the Ally and the monitor, and went, oh, hold on a second. It's not like this monitor supports power delivery. How on earth am I going to charge this? Did I bring a micro HDMI to USB-C adapter? No, then I still couldn't charge. Oh, dude. So
now you need like a dock.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And I didn't think to bring a dock. It's completely on me, but the difference maker would have been if it just had 2 USB-C ports, like so many other handhelds do. So I would love to see that. That's something that has affected me personally. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see Hall effect joysticks. I guess the
Is that what they
repairability
said?
might help a little bit.
Okay.
I was asked what I would like to see.
Yeah.
I can only comment on what's written here because who knows what I might or might not know.
Faster, better, stronger is cool. It's a portable device. You could hope basically everything would be better. I'm surprised there's a revision already. That's all. Because how long is the Ally is quite a bit newer than the Steam Deck.
No, the Steam Deck's huge.
No. More recently released.
Oh.
It was released June 13th, 2023. So it's been less than a year and they're revising it already. That's pretty fast in the device realm.
Well, I mean, that's the IT industry cycle, though. And that's, again, something that makes the Steam Deck feel a lot more console-like to me, is it's very clearly on a more console-like refresh cycle. I mean, it's still, Steam Deck is still RDNA 2, isn't it? I think, or RDNA 2, excuse me, Zen 2? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though Zen 3 was coming and we're already on Zen 4 now, like they could, if they were just, using a random APU out of AMD's product catalog, then they could easily be revising it. But it's clear that Valve is serious about treating it like a console where they lock in the spec and they build performance targets for various games. They build profiles, and it's not just a PC where you're expected to just kind of tinker around with your graphics sliders. You can, because man, Valve is pretty chill about that kind of stuff. Like, why don't you play around with your power profile, and why don't you play around with all these settings? But they're obviously they're trying to create a console-like experience.